States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is approval for the minutes for the December 19, 2011 special meeting and the December 20th, 2011 regular meeting.
I move.
All those in favor of approving the minutes for the following meetings, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Did anybody sign in for public comments? All right. And we are now with Dana Snyder. West Test update.
It's lots of things. I want to give you enough to inform you, but not enough to bore you out of your skull. So we've done just a quick.
I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
That's a fine edge,
I want to go through a quick PowerPoint with you. I will say to you, the information that you're about to receive is also in the book that you have. It's not the same format, but it's the same information. So we'll go through this and then go through that quickly. And if you have any questions, then we'll go from there. This first part just deals with West Test 2, and with West Test 2, you have different types of questions. That DOK just means depth of knowledge, and you'll look at where it says DOK 1, knowledge, recall, recognition. So some of the questions like that would be, who was the first president of the United States? 2, comprehension, application, and conceptual thinking. The question would be something like, if John had 49 cents, how many 10-cent balloons could he buy? 3, I'm not going to read this whole thing to you guys, but what I'm wanting to say here is that the majority of the depth of knowledge questions that you'll see coming up are mostly the 2, 3s, and 4s. That makes that test just a little more stringent, and then we'll look at some test scores and see how we did on that. Some of the language that you'll hear me talk about, AYP, that's adequate unity progress, and for that you have to make sure that you meet the assessment standards. We'll talk about that. 95% participation rate by schools, and for this year, 09-010, there was 90% graduation rate, not 80, and of course 90% attendance rate for elementary and middle schools will show some type of improvement. The subgroups we'll talk about, if you have a group of students that are 50 or less, and most of your special ed, you'll see that. They have to at least be 50 to enroll to make sure that happens. The NCLB, we're talking about two different things, West Virginia Achieves and NCLB. With the NCLB, you have to make sure you have FAY, which is a full academic year. The issue being, if I stayed at Van High School for 6 months, 7 months, and moved to Lincoln County High School, I didn't receive that curriculum that Lincoln County High School was given, or taught with Lincoln County High School was submitting that. So that person then would not be charged against their scores, I guess you might say. When you look at the subgroups, and I'll show you that as we go through the chart, you'll see that there's all students, economically disadvantaged, low SES, and of course the different racial and ethnicity groups. There's different ways you can meet AYP. Obviously, the test scores that you make, the proficiencies that you make, but also you can do it by a confidence interval. And that just means an interval in which a measurement for trial falls corresponding to a given probability. They're saying, if I scored 60% last year and 63% the year before that, the more than likely I'm going to score somewhere in the 60s. You can also make it by a safe harbor provision, and we have a lot of that also. What they're saying is, if you have a group of students that fall short of that target, whatever that might be, they can still meet AYP if a percentage of those students who scored below that proficiency level is decreased by 10%. So if I had 100 students that scored below that, and next year only had 90%, that for 90 kids, that would be a 10% increase. I can still meet that. And I think we've got a couple of schools that have done that this year. Here's our status for 2011. 2 of the 4 elementary schools met it. None of our middles, our high school didn't, or Lincoln County did not. Attendance rates, you'll see that they did all meet the proficiency. County was 97.9. Graduation rate, kind of a 3-year trend. You'll see 08-09, 80% is 75.6. 9-10 was 84.4, which met it. There you go, the plus minus on the bottom, and then this year with the 90% did not make it.
Did they change the
Yes, this year.
equation also, and how they?
There's 2 different ways, and I'll give you the website to go to. There's the new way and the old way. And again, because we're in a transition, they're using both of those. This was the old method that I just showed you. Dropout rate, you can see that it's getting better compared to 07, 08. 09, 010 looked pretty good, and the last year was 2.2.
Is that different measures too, different ways to measure? Or is
That's-
it the
yes.
same measures?
Also different. Also different.
What did it change? Do you know?
This year, I think. If you guys are ever interested in wanting to know the nuts and bolts, come see me. It's on the website. I'll walk through it. There's a lot of language in that, I guess, that you almost have to have a mathematician degree to understand what they're saying, what needs to happen. But if you ever want to look at that, come and see me, and I'll walk you right through it. Best of my knowledge.
We could have Jeff.
That's how I explain it. We got each off.
Did it change last year or?
This year, I believe it was changed.
Okay, so all of this is the same measure?
Yes.
That's all the same?
Now what you're looking for is, yes, graduation rate changed this year also, 90%. Yes. Yes. Raised it. Yes.
Did the way
90%.
we measure it
Yes.
change?
Yes. What you have now is I've got each school, and we've got the participation rate, and all I used was all students, special ed, and low SES, because that seems to be the three biggies. When we go to NCLB, you'll see that there's different groups that actually show the ethnicity group by black, white, Asian. But you'll see that 100% of the students participated in the math and the reading test at Ranger Elementary. You'll see that for all students, proficiency was in math was 33.96, for special ed 15.38. And you can see the left-hand side where it says less than 50, that means there wasn't enough for a sale. So they weren't held accountable for that. And the low SES, same scenario. Reading, same thing that you see there. 45.28% proficiency, and 38.46 in special ed, 42.22 in reading also. And what I've done is gone through each school. I don't know if you want to hear each one of those. You have that in this packet. What's your pleasure?
What grade levels again are?
This is just Ranger Elementary. We'll get to the grade levels here in just a second. This is just the whole school. The whole school at Ranger and at Midway.
Primary?
Pardon? Yes. The whole school.
Is there anything on this particular slide that shows whether they met AYP to your knowledge that was shown somewhere else?
Yeah, it says AYP, yes, no. Second, see where it says ethnic.
Okay.
Besides
Each
AYP,
one, okay.
yes,
Then they had to.
yes. Any other questions about that, guys? Want to make sure you understand. West Hamlin, same scenario. You'll see there's some tremendous growth at West Hamlin. 52.15%, 100% participation rate. We talked about that confidence interval. You'll see their low SES. Yes, they made AYP because they met that confidence interval definition on both the reading and the math. Arts Primary see the same thing. They also made in reading the confidence interval with all students and with the low SES. Hamlin did not. You'll see their assessment 33.99, all students, and 41.91. They did meet it with the safe harbor definition. Obviously, 10% of their kids did a better job this year than they did last year. Duval did the same thing with the reading component. They made it the safe harbor in low SES and all students. Parks Intermediate, same scenario. Yes, safe harbor in the reading for all students and low SES. No in the math. You'll see that they only had 99.37% of their kids that participated, which still met the mark. Guyan Valley, lots of things along good at Guyan Valley Middle School. You're seeing that they did meet with a confidence interval and a safe harbor, both in reading and in math. Lincoln County High School, no each one of them. And again, their special ed was less than 50, so not indicative score. Now we'll talk just real quickly about ACT. We have our 8th graders who take the Explorer, our 10th graders who take the Plan, and also our juniors and seniors who take the actual ACT. What you have here is a 5-year trend of ACT, Plan, and ACT scores. This year, ACT Explorer, or 2010, I'm sorry, last year's score was 14.1, the Plan was 15.4, and our average composite test score for ACT for 2010 was 18.7. I'll show you another graph that will show you how it compares to the state.
Is that county?
That's county, yes, that is county. It breaks down by schools here. For the Explorer, again, that's the 8th graders. You'll see the national average is 14.9, West Virginia's is 14.8, Lincoln County's is 14.1, and then you'll see each middle school across top of the Gunnison Valley, 13.3, Duval 14.9, Amman, again, another 5-year trend. It looks as though Duval made a pretty significant jump from 12.8 to 14.9, as well as Hammond. We'll break it down even further. Now you have the English component of the Explorer test, again for the 8th graders. You'll see last year, the national average is 14.2, West Virginia 14.1, Lincoln County 13.1, Gunnison Valley 12.1, Duval 14.2. Again, a pretty significant jump for Duval, almost 3 percentage points from last year. Math scores, same scenario. Reading scores, pretty good jump from the county from 12.5 to 13.6. You have a 1% jump, and statistically that's supposed to be pretty phenomenal, Mr. Mathematician. That's phenomenal. Science reasoning scores. From a county perspective, again, about almost a 1-point jump. Now we go to our plan, which is our sophomores, our 10th graders. You'll see which is just Lincoln County High School actually. You'll see the national scores 1 through 32. West Virginia average is 16.2, and Lincoln County is 15.4. Just a slight drop from the last couple of years. Again, we'll go through the English scores. You'll see the average national score is 16.9, West Virginia score is 16.3, and again, Lincoln County to 15.1 from last year. Math scores is 17.4, West Virginia 16.3, and Lincoln County to 14.7. Reading scores, slight drop in reading. Science scores, slight drop in science. And the ACT scores. Juniors and seniors usually take this. The max you get is actually a 36. 2001, the national average is 21.1, West Virginia 20.6, Lincoln County with an 18.7. Slight increase. The English component, 20.6 from the national, 20.7 from West Virginia, and again, Lincoln County staying about the same as the previous year with an 18.2. About a half percentage point increase from last year with our reading scores in the county. Stayed about the same in math. Stayed about the same with science. Our college going rate. I went to HEPC, the Higher Education Policy Commission, to try to find this. As far back as I could find was 2009. West Virginia college going rate in 2009 was 61.5, with Lincoln County having a 55.4, which is a pretty significant jump from the year before, almost 10 percentage points.
Did they talk about the retention rate at all?
Pardon?
Did they talk about the retention, the college going rate, how many actually completed?
A year or two, I did not see that chart, but I can go back and look. Any information that doesn't come up that you guys are interested in, let me know. I don't care if it will come back and get that information, bring it back to you.
Do we have any information on how many of our students finished?
That's what I was asking.
Yes. I can go to the HEPC and see. I didn't see any of that information like that, but I can make that happen.
How many dropped out after the first year, which is a large percentage.
That's what I'd like to see,
Yeah.
the one
Okay.
they go, but what happens? Do they complete, do they finish 20 years?
Thank you, sir. Edge credit, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Edge, I'm sure most of you are. At the high school, 08-09, we had 826 students receive edge credit. Now, they could receive 2 or 3 credits with that. 9-10, we had 1,043, and I talked to Ryan this morning, and he gave me that number of 1,231. So
That's what edge credit
yeah,
is.
it's earn a degree, graduate early, college credit, and what they're doing is they're taking actually classes that gives them college credit as well as a high school credit. Lots of kids are taking those courses as well as some of the dual credit courses that counts as a high school credit as well as a college credit.
So when they enter college, they've already
Yes,
accumulated.
it's
10
9, 12 hours of college credit, yes.
Is that what's in
That's our data, that's Lincoln County High School.
the,
I have 7 credits, and as a senior, I'm taking 5 edge credits. So I may be getting 5,
okay, so it's really the number of credits,
yes,
not the number of students.
yes, yes.
Doesn't the edge credit transfers over to the Southern?
Yes.
For regular
Yes.
credits?
Yes.
And then if they, let's say you start at Southern, let's say, if they decide to go to Marshall or Western State or, you know, some 4-year institution, then it carries over and follows them to that 4 years.
So they don't have to take that particular class.
Right. Lots of dual credit classes, I'm kind of excited about this, and I spoke to Mr. Sachs. We have 25 students taking English 101 first semester, 102 second semester, 24 taking Psych 201, all these are college level courses. The Civics 21, Speech 100 or 20, and Math 095 47, which is, he told me what that was equivalent to. Is that English or math?
They call that math, that'd be like an algebra
Yeah,
course.
right. And then Math 123 is 17 students, so those numbers are up from last year also. I didn't have last year's numbers to compare them to. Questions? Now, I'll try to quickly go through this. The first part of that you'll see, the first 17 pages, for you visual learners. It's actually in a graphical assessment data. You'll see the different colors, with red obviously being the school, blue being the county, and green being the state. Those are the same numbers that I showed you from each individual school. On the left-hand side, you'll see where it says novice, below mastery, mastery, above mastery. That gives you the percentage of students in that school that scored in that proficiency ranking. For example, the first we're looking at is Duval PK8. In reading the proficiency levels, you'll see that 32.14 of those students in the school were novice. In the county, 33.75 were novice. In the state, 26.58. What we're looking for is mastery and above. That's the proficiency level. So anything that's mastery and above is what we're looking for. We're not looking for partial mastery, or below mastery, or novice. They do that in all 4 core areas: in the reading component, math component, science, and social studies. Now, again, I'm not going to read each and every one of these to you. You're more than welcome to look through that, and if you have questions about that, please ask. If you'll move over about 17 or 18 pages. You'll see where it says NCLB data for school years, number of schools displayed. On about the 3rd slide that I showed you, it also shows you the number of schools that made those, AYP, I'm sorry. You actually see that trend data for the first 5 years. It says NCLB data for school year 2010-11, number of schools displayed 9. That actually gives you that 5-year trend from 2007 to 2011. It should look like this. The X's and checks. The X's mean you didn't make it, the checks mean that you made it. That's kind of simple terms, I guess. You can see again that we saw that 2 elementary schools did make it and no one else did. Now, if you look on this next page beyond that, I'll show you where I spoke with you guys earlier. There's some issues, I guess. This comes from the NCLB public page. If you look at Ranger Elementary and look at where it says all proficient, percent proficient, it says 33.96. If you'll roll back about 5 pages, you'll see that graph that shows Ranger. And it says for mathematics, proficient, 32.71. So those numbers are different. Now here's why they're different. With the graph that you have, if you look at the top, it says West Test / APTA. Those APTA students, those students that took those APTA exams were figured into the percentages there. The NCLB did not do that. But they have where it says number of students enrolled for FAY, full academic year. And if you look at Ranger, by the way, you'll see they had 53 enrolled for FAY, but 55 tested. So you had 2 students that were tested and their scores did not count because they were not at that school long enough for those scores to be valid scores. Does that make sense? Clear as mud, I'm sure. Any questions about that?
We're just trying to, or I am trying to see what page we're comparing to.
Okay.
I found Ranger over here, if I'm on the right page.
Which one are you on?
Well, I'm on page 1 of 2,
Yes.
West Test.
Look where it says percentage math proficiency. You see that?
Percentage, is that in the second?
Yes, that'd be the second
Graph down.
Second graph down. Percentage math proficiency.
All right. Now, over on the other, it had 33.96. Now, what were you comparing?
32, look down at the bottom where it says school, 32.71.
Okay, 32.71.
Yes.
And that's a total of all of these from mastery down to,
Yes.
okay, I see, there's number testing. So it's those 3
Yes.
blocks there. Okay. Now tell me, could you
Yes.
share once again what the difference
If
is?
you look at your graph, you look at the graph.
Yes.
Christie?
Yes, sir.
You look at the top, you'll see what says West Test / APTA. Okay, so those numbers came from the students that took the West Test plus the APTA. Those students that took the APTA exams. Okay?
Okay.
If you look back on the other page, you will see NCLB data, and you will see the group number enrolled by FAY. Those are full academic year students. So if you go down at Ranger, you see there was 53 that were number enrolled for FAY. Move to the right there, you'll see number enrolled for test week. So 55 students took the test, but only 53 of them counted because those 2 students that moved in, as I said, may not have had the same curriculum. They came from Timbuktu or something like that. So they didn't feel like they should hold Ranger accountable for the scores of those 2 students because they had not been in the school for a full academic year.
But now on the other chart, they are included there?
I would say probably not. I would say you're just getting, that's a good question.
I'm just trying to see why there's a difference between those 2. I thought maybe
Yeah.
that's why.
Well, again, one comes from the West Virginia Chiefs page, and that's been my concern when we talk about it, and one comes from the NCLB page. As you know as well as I know, that when these are public pages that anybody can see, and if you get in and see those numbers, and you're saying, hey, this is smoke and mirrors, why is one page saying one thing and another saying something else? And as we get further through this, you'll see how much more muddy the water is going to be because we're changing now to a growth model.
Yeah, but I see on this one, Dan, this graph,
Yep.
that it has up here at the top, number tested 55.
And that would be the full number again.
Right.
Not, the FAY would not be a part of that.
Okay, now back to the other then, when percent proficient, was that based on the 55?
That's basically, you talking about on this sheet right here?
Yes.
That's based on 53.
Okay.
That's why the numbers are different.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering, is that maybe part
Yes,
of the
that's why the
reason?
numbers are different.
Okay.
Any more questions about that? I know it's clear as mud, but that's that. Okay. The rest of that is what I said to you. If you want to go through the rest of those pages, the next, I think 9 pages or so, are just each individual score with NCLB data that you're looking at. And it also talks about those ethnicity groups I was talking about, the number of Black, Hispanic, Asian, multiracial, Pacific Islander. You can see those numbers too. And we have a very, very low percentage of those students that test. You don't want to move through all that. You'll see it says 2010-2014 annual measurement objectives for West Test. And this was when No Child Left Behind went into effect. By 2014, that 100% of our kids would be proficient. You'll see the proficiency numbers that you're looking at. So for 2012, it looks as though in reading, 67%. Middle school, 68%, high school, 64%. For mathematics, 68.5, 67.5, 65.5 will be the starting points for those tests.
Could that possibly affect our funding?
Pardon?
I just wondering, like, if there was any type of legislative action or something taken by our federal government with that No Child Left Behind law, with the requirements as far as being, if you have to make a certain mark, if they pass any legislation, that could probably affect our funding. Could it or could it not?
I do think,
I mean, setting thresholds that are probably, that you can't hit. I mean, you're just setting goals that you can't hit.
and I think our State Department realizes that, and that's why they're looking for this growth model. I think they're looking to still keep the accountability piece in, but something that's somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
It kind of is what it is. We know we have to live by this until 2014, so we'll do everything in our power to meet those marks if we can. But we're confident that we have folks that are working to make that happen, but as you said, it's almost ridiculous.
I think it's kind of amazing. It's just kind of like all of our kids would be above 50%. I mean, it's fascinating.
Sure messes up bell curve, doesn't it?
It just doesn't make.
Okay, the next 7 pages are going to be what you talked about. This is actually by grade level, not by teacher. That's NCLB data. It's broken down by the same thing: ethnicity, Asian, Black, female, migrant, Hispanic, Indian, limited English proficiency, male, special ed. And I will say, we looked at our data, and our females are hammering our males as far as that is concerned. Our largest number of proficiency came from our 6th grade girls. In reading was like 48.7% of our 6th grade girls were proficient in reading. Our lowest number was our 11th grade boys in math. It's a dismal 17.7% of our 11th grade boys were proficient in math. So you know there's some challenges there.
Is that a national trend, though? Girls
Maybe not that much.
Well, not that much. I mean-
We see it in 3rd and 4th grade, and that gap, it just continues to get wider and wider as they go through our system.
It's pretty significant.
I mean, I've just seen things that even graduates of high schools across the country with that sort of interest, college graduates.
Women now have actually, more than 50% of them actually acquire degrees. Used to be more males, now it's more females.
I'm touching that.
We could discuss
Okay,
that.
those next pages have actually broken down by
Everyone you didn't like it.
by grade level and by content: math 3rd grade, reading 3rd grade, math 4th grade, reading 4th grade. As I said, I'm not going to read each and every one of those to you. We'll be here forever to try to do that. And I want you to be aware of that. Go through that. If you have questions about that, please just let me know. Come here, get to sit down and talk to you about it. This second part, and I'm not going to bore you with that also, it's that whole ACT composite score which I showed you on the graph. It gives you those numbers also. Look through those at your leisure, at your will. I don't think there's anything else. I hope that didn't bore you too bad. I told you 30 minutes, I was 28, so.
You did well.
Any questions? And please, if you have any questions at all about data, 237 my extension, call, come over, I'll show you what you want. I'll get that for you. Okay.
What will be the test that they take this year?
West Test 2.
The same thing they took
Yes,
last year?
yes, it's good.
Until 2015, and then it will change.
I'll talk to you a little bit about the growth model. I went to a conference back in October, and they just kind of rolled it out a little bit, just enough to scare us. But Trish and Jeff and Charlene went to the secret meeting where you had to sign your life away. They showed us what the growth model was going to look like. The arrows pointing into growth or non-growth. We were told back in October that was going to be rolled out in March. That slowed way down. And I think because the feds are now allowing folks to write waivers. So I think West Virginia's kind of slowing down to see what that first group of waivers will look like and how much blood they're gonna have to give to meet the No Child Left Behind Act. I'm not for sure what West Virginia will do. Jeff may, or Trish may have a better understanding of what West Virginia's thoughts are, if they want to be part of that waiver process or not. I don't know what they're going to do.
So we're going to use the same test, but will the criteria and interpretation be different? That it will be a growth model?
No, the growth model won't start till after, the growth model won't start till after No Child Left Behind is gone in 2014.
Oh, so we still have
Yes,
a few more years with
yes,
this. Oh, I thought
yes.
the growth model was going to be.
They want to kind of roll pieces of it out, so it's not just a one-shot deal. So we'll understand where we're going, kind of roll out piece by piece. I think what they were looking at was actually taking the last 2 years' data of the West test and show the growth. That's with those scores, just to show what it looked like visually. But I think there's been a thought-through process of how that'll look once that the West test is gone and what we'll be using to determine growth.
The question is whether or not the growth or performance of the students in a particular school or teacher's classroom is going to be utilized as part of the teacher's evaluation. That's what's really out there on the whole right now.
That's the whole thing.
Is that part of the waiver process?
It could be. The state of West Virginia is waiting to find out what happens with the states who have already submitted a waiver request. They'll be getting their information back sometime soon. West Virginia is waiting until February to make their decision whether or not they'll request a waiver as well.
One part of that growth model, new way of looking at the students and measuring their progress, it has been, they had to have a different evaluation component. So we have 3 schools right now that are piloting the new evaluation. So they're doing little bits, piloting certain pieces in order to get everything together for this growth model. But as Dana referred to it, a secret meeting when Mr. McKiffen, Ms. Hubbard, and I did go with all the other counties. It wasn't just us, but it was kind of, we thought it was that they were not serious at first, because we did have to sign a statement, that this is secure information. I couldn't remember enough of it at the end to have told anybody anyway. I'm not sure I understood it all, but that was kind of, of them trying to explain to the whole state as to what this growth model may look like. But
So if they do request a waiver from the federal government, what does that mean? What are they waiving?
The NCLB criteria.
The whole criteria?
That criteria,
And
yes.
replace it with some other comparable
Whatever
evaluation
state, yes.
model?
I think that's what they're waiting to see, what is the other model, and they're not wanting to sell their soul to jump on board another train. Lessons learned from No Child Left Behind, those regulations. So I think they're a little hesitant to jump in with both feet until they see what happens with the states that.
This is the first, I guess, the first group of waivers that are coming down the pike. And I'll look and see what those look like and determine whether or not, is that in February, is that right, Jim? To determine whether.
There's only about 11 states asked for waivers on it.
That's correct.
That surprised me. I thought a bunch of them
Were they approved yet, or do?
were. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
It's waivers from the measurable objectives that the federal government's laid out. Am I correct? Saying that 67% of your elementary are going to score proficient, correct?
Standards and the
That's the-
evaluation.
That's the measurable
Instrument
objective.
itself?
By 2014, that 100% of our students had to be proficient. That's the crux of the whole thing.
If you notice, there's about a 16% jump each year.
Came out.
Because when it first came out, they were making, they're having small steps, baby steps, and now you kind of have to pay the pods now. That's why we're at a 16% jump in the next 3 years.
To look good early, to look worse.
And who knows when they'll ever take a look at this, because if you watch the news every day, the focus has been on the economy for the last 3 years. So, when do they turn their attention to education?
It's number last. Okay.
But the growth model makes so much more sense, you know, because you're measuring how much did the student progress.
It does,
You know,
that does make
they're-
sense.
It's measuring it against themselves and not, you know.
It does make sense. That does make sense.
Any other questions for you?
No, I don't. Do you have any questions?
I think one of the good things, thank you, Mr. Snyder, is I know you all heard reports from each of the schools at their LSIC meetings, but this puts it all in one, yeah, you can look at it in one complete packet. So.
I'm gonna mark this page. The measurable objective. See, I'm a teacher, so I mean, I know what that means.
Just put 100% of your kids.
Yeah, 100% of my students are going to achieve. Of course.
They're gonna start
Right.
evaluating you on that.
I can't wait. All right, Tori Childs, Love You Too Relationship Smarts.
That would be me. Do they have the packet?
They don't have the whole book, they have this proposed agreement.
Okay.
Here's one extra book with me.
It's in. It's the deal.
They'll be lunch.
Yes. Oh, no, this is last.
And I will be brief.
I only have one page through all of that.
All right. My name is Tori Childs. I am the director of the THINK program, which stands for Teaching Health Instead of Nagging Kids, out of Mission, West Virginia, which is actually located in Hurricane. And just to give you an overview, THINK is a program that focuses on adolescents and their health. That can be their physical health, emotional health, social health, essentially anything that adolescents are going through. And this program is funded through state and federal dollars to provide educations to adolescents across the state of West Virginia on issues related to teen pregnancy prevention, making healthy decisions, life skills, and positive relationship development. And we run 2 different teen pregnancy prevention programs. And we began those programs in 2007. And currently we are running a teen pregnancy prevention program with federal dollars. We have a $914,000 grant to run evidence-based programs in 11 counties. And then we also run a personal responsibility education program in group homes in Cabell and Wayne counties. And that is through a state grant that is funneled down through APPI, which is the Adolescent Pregnancy Prevention Initiative. And then our newest program, which is what I'm proposing for Lincoln County High School, is our Healthy Marriage, Healthy Relationships Education Program. It is a $683,000 grant that we were awarded at the end of September to run programs in 7 counties across the state. And the reason that we proposed Lincoln County for this program is, number one, the proximity to our offices. We're looking to do things more locally to our Putnam County location. And the other reason is some of the statistics and the need that Lincoln County high school students have. And I had a meeting with Mr. Sachs just prior to Christmas. I explained the entire program to him. I gave him the student workbook, which is the curriculum that we will be using with the high school students. And he asked if I would come and present this to you all to make you all aware of what I'm proposing and what he's hoping to instill probably in the 9th grade classroom. And that's where he envisions this being of the most benefit to the students. Just in that year, they're transitioning from middle school to high school, relationships are changing, not only romantic relationships, but also their friendships, the relationships with their parents, their relationship with just other important adults in their lives. And we are actually this week going through our formal training of the Love You 2. And it is a fabulous curriculum. Not only does it teach the students how to build healthy relationships, it helps them recognize unhealthy relationships. And there's also been a correlation with healthy relationships reducing teen pregnancy. So we're hoping to couple that with our teen pregnancy prevention in some of the other counties where we'll be doing both programs. He's had a couple of conversations with a few of the staff members that just happened to be around that day, and he just wanted me to run it by you all to see what your thoughts were, to essentially get your approval and answer any questions that you might have.
Did you say ninth grade?
That's what he's proposing. It's an adolescent curriculum that's used mostly with 8th to 12th grade, but I think it focuses mostly on 9th and 10th graders.
You say you're doing this in Cabell County?
We're doing it in Clay, Cabell, Fayette, Greenbrier, Lincoln, Nicholas, and Summers.
Have you seen any results in Cabell?
This is our first year that we'll be
Okay.
doing it. So I can tell you with our teen pregnancy prevention programs that we have done in over the last, since 2007, Mission West Virginia has done the teen pregnancy in Fayette, Greenbrier, Marion, McDowell, Mercer, Monroe, Nicholas, Ritchie, Summers, Doddridge, Mon, and I think that's all. And this year we've added Cabell, Lee, and Raleigh counties. But over that time, we have seen a decrease in specific counties. Statewide, obviously, the rates are up. But I know in McDowell County alone, we have seen about a 40% decrease since we started programming in their schools. That's probably our most significant decrease that we've seen. But part of that is, I mean, when you look at data, McDowell County is such a very small population. You know, when you have 15 of the girls pregnant and it drops to 10, 10 is still too many, but it's such a significant drop.
Do you know whether those counties were originally selected in
The-
2007 on pregnancy rates or?
Part of it was they were selected, number one, based on pregnancy rates, poverty rates, as well as the fact that we partner with other organizations, and through Title V dollars, the state, some of these counties were being served and they were getting cut. Their state dollars were getting cut, and so we targeted those based on the experience of the partner organizations in those areas, and then as well as need.
The amount of time that's directed to this program.
We are looking at about 6 blocks. It would probably take about 6 blocks to cover the lesson. So six days. And the way Mr. Sachs would like to set it up is just once a week, coming in once a week for 6 weeks. To
An entire day.
Class.
it would take the entire class. So we would be essentially serving the entire 9th grade through 2 different teachers, I think he said, is the way that the class is set up.
One class period a week.
Yes, 1 class period a week for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, okay.
You know which classes he was targeting?
I know one of the classes I think was biology. He says he has a teacher that's been out because of health problems, and there's a permanent substitute in that class. I think it's a biology class. I'm not positive. He said that was one class for sure, just because with the permanent substitute, the lesson planning was hard to do, and this would be a great addition to it. And some of the topics in this curriculum will cover some of the CSOs. I actually have a staff member who's going to go through and match up and see which ones match up with CSOs, so that's something that we can bring back to the teachers as well and say, this will be covered. Obviously, there's going to be things in there that go above and beyond the CSOs.
Ms. Lucas, a lot of the CSOs in health are covered in
And that's
this.
what we'll try and match it up with. And actually, a different program, but our teen pregnancy prevention curriculum is 16 lessons long, And every single lesson matches up with the CSO. And I want to say probably about half of these match up with the CSOs.
In your program, do you have any schools that require you to get parents' permission for these?
The federal government does not require us to get parental permission. However, as a director, I leave it up to the principal. I want the principal to do one of two things: either send home a permission slip to have the parents actually sign and have the students bring it back, or send home a passive letter letting the parents know that this is who will be in the schools, this is the curriculum that we're doing, give them my contact information, and if they don't want their student participating, they let the principal know, or if they have questions, they can give me a call and call the principal. So it's up to, I let the principal decide whatever's easier for school.
Have you had much negative feedback in what you have already provided?
I've never had a parent not sign or not allow a student to participate.
That's wonderful.
And I have personally never received a phone call. A few of my educators have, just questions about the program, you know, what exactly the curriculum is, that kind of thing. So I've never had anybody say no.
That's good.
Do you have any other questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's move to our administrative section. Hey, we have Jordan Wall, Southern West Virginia Community Technical College students with full observation. And B is to approve the Teen Parent Initiative pilot programs at Lake County High School. C is to use the use of space at Lake County High School to conduct an amateur boxing competition. Dr. Martin, you have something?
I request permission from the board to provide some materials concerning this. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
All right, I just Googled for some more information on youth boxing. I certainly far from an expert, but I found some things that I'd like the board to be cognizant of. And I would ask, I know you can't read all this tonight, but I would ask that we table this item C, until the next meeting when you've had time to read this and see what you think about it. Okay, I had some concerns, so I would request we do that.
That sounds fine. Do y'all have any problems with that? To table this and some of the material? I think it's a great idea.
I want to move then that it would be appropriate now to do it another way.
Well, we can go ahead. Just go ahead.
Okay, I would make a motion then, a separate motion that we table item C until our next meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the table item C, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, let's look at D, to approve the diversion of property from the Hamlin Volunteer Fire Department to Lake County Board of Education. Got any questions on that?
So we
have the-
didn't
we have the
formally
deed.
do this before?
We kind of formally
We'll talk
told
about
you
it.
that we didn't vote on
Okay,
it.
so we talked about it, we never put it, okay.
It's not like we really have any choice.
Almost process, we might want to vote no on.
But I was gonna say, I was wondering, good.
Could we run really fast and not do this?
Mr. Smith reviewed with Ms. Lucas today, it was $100,000 estimate to actually demolish that building.
That's
No,
asbestos.
that includes the cost of the roof and $100,000 total to demolish the building.
And that's removable asbestos as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the last time the asbestos was gonna be almost that much.
$50,000 for the roof.
Yeah, that piece of property will be well worth that. For us to go ahead.
For a whole 100,000 for the whole thing.
So, or maybe we can sell it.
Do you remember what it was to fix the roof?
$100,000.
Everybody's fighting to get
150.
asbestos.
For a new roof, he told me today.
Oh, okay.
If you put a new roof on, it would be $100,000. If you were to remove it, it would be $50,000 to remove. And then to demolish the rest of it, it would be at least $100,000 together.
Oh, altogether.
So just just replacing your roof cost, how much you get?
$100,000.
That doesn't even address the mold and all the stuff.
Anything else?
We don't need a building. We need parking, we need a building.
To get that thing ready to be used.
I think it will actually make the school look nicer too, to have that all paved over there and parking.
And we'll fix that, you know, gas, something like that, just maybe it's a dirt road.
Law.
Yes.
You go up very close to this.
We have some challenge there, but anyway, so that's exciting.
I think that was mentioned, he did want to know if he could, if whatever we do with that building, we can leave that wall so it doesn't cause his. I suggested
Help
that
us
he just
too.
take
We
the
don't
Make a
want them
retaining
sliding
wall.
in on us.
I want to get into the building so we can have the wall.
Yeah, we don't need to, we want to make
For an
the
hour.
attorney, any enemies of the attorneys.
The government that we are,
Yeah.
the entity that we are.
E is the out-of-state student trips for the Duval Middle School, 7th grade, the Lake County High School, and Bingham on PK through 8, 8th grade. Do you have any questions on E? F is to uphold the recommendation of the superintendent to approve a 1-day suspension without pay of a classroom teacher, effective December the 22nd, for violation of the employee code of conduct. Does anybody have any questions on F?
Can that employee be named, given that the service personnel employee was named at the last meeting after the hearing and reported?
I have the name with me. I've read it. It's up to you. I don't know.
Because like the minutes of last week's meeting just says a service personnel. It doesn't say who it was, but the newspaper does. It just seems inconsistent.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether, I don't think that we have to do
Yeah, I
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure.
I mean, I
how
don't
they
think
did
I'd want to be named.
Last time.
Because it was said in here.
Well, obviously, they wouldn't have to.
His
The
name.
meeting was, right.
Yeah.
And there was actually a hearing.
Yeah, okay.
There was a hearing. We didn't have a hearing.
Right.
This hearing was waived.
Right. That's
We waived the right to the hearing.
And the last meeting wasn't it open?
It was open at the
Uh,
beginning, and
it
the decision was
open,
open.
And we went
Yeah,
to a
decision was open.
decision.
Okay.
Except for you did not request today.
Can't make a decision in executive session.
Don't forget to add item G.
Yeah, and item G, we have to, that's the, item G is the addendum for Gerald Hartley. That's, item G is the Gerald addendum. So, does anyone have any questions concerning anything in the administrative section?
Well, on part B,
The
the
B,
parent initiative, is that what you want to discuss, Mr. McDowell?
If that's okay.
no, yeah, if you want to, yeah. if you wanna-
Sure.
say if you
I
have
had
any-
asked a question that quick, remember?
Oh, okay, okay.
And I got,
And he's just going to briefly show us.
Okay. This is a follow-up from the last meeting.
Yes.
Right.
the pilot's gonna be wrapped around the right from the start curriculum. Okay, that's the main thing we're gonna use. And there are 4 presenters guide, one before the baby comes, one first 6 months, and one 7 to 12 months, which are, it's a curricular thing that also has with it handouts for the young parents. So I'm happy to leave these with the superintendent. I think you and Jack have seen this.
I just sort of wanted to see
There was-
something, okay? Like, this is what we're going to follow, and this,
This is, it's gonna be the basis. There are gonna be other pieces with some of the other organizations that are going to come in. For example,
Ours didn't come with any instructions. Any instructions when you had a child?
Pardon?
I said ours didn't come with any instructions, our children.
They didn't. Well, we're trying to fix it.
Special book, and I didn't read it.
That's the worst. You left them at the hospital.
All of theirs.
So it could be, this shows you the presenters and the organizations, and they're organizations in addition to the Right from the Start. So that somebody like Jenna Rose, who's from WIC, would come in and do things on nutrition, on breastfeeding. If she weren't going to do that, they could actually, there could be a curriculum right from the start, that the Right from the Start people could use. But the feeling was the more agencies we would involve in this, the stronger the program will be, and the more support we have for other things we're going to do.
So are you orchestrating who does what?
At the present time, I actually am, yes.
Well, I mean, someone would have to, there's so many entities here and so many curriculums.
We're meeting on Friday, if the board approves this pilot, to bring everybody together and to figure out from 9 to 10 o'clock, Jenna's going to do this, and from 10 to 11, somebody's going to do that. So these are the people for the initial 2 months of the pilot, and I guess, I don't know whether you can do it at this meeting, but I think it would probably be appropriate at some point to get the board to give permission for these people to come into the school and do this.
It's a liability issue.
How was that?
I said, it's a liability issue.
Yeah, we need to do that as soon as possible. We need to have that on the next agenda.
I don't see why we can't add it to this one. We've got on here to approve items B. And this
They
is,
would just say.
And just
This
part
is
of
the
it. And that's an attachment.
yes, yes.
And it's all the way presented.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then as we move through the first 2 months, we might have some other people. And there was also a question about permission slips. I don't know whether we got that ready to go out. Yes, you all would like copies.
Yeah, I know we asked that question.
And this could get tweaked on Friday.
So this is not passive, this is they have to return it?
Yes. And we'd ask that both the youth and the parent, if the youth was under 18, would sign it. And one of the things we did include in here, we're going to give a $50 gift card if you come to 4 to 5 sessions, just as an incentive.
That's good.
And we're also going to do some evaluations, but they all do be anonymous. Curricular, what part of the curriculum did you think was most helpful? Not specific questions about what led you to get in the situation you were in.
Do you have a minimum number of students that have to attend that for
The agencies, well, what we know, we do not have a minimum. At this point, as of the 20th of December, we had 10 young mothers who had children and 8 pregnant teens at the high school. So that's sort of our core. Those numbers could change, hopefully not too much, but we're not saying that if we only get 2 pregnant moms, no, we won't do it. We're just going to go with another idea.
I think it sounds good.
That's fantastic. We need to make sure on item B that we just make sure that we are also approving the following presenters on the attachment.
And as we get more, I'll bring it forward.
Thanks. Thanks, Rick.
Sure, you're welcome.
So there's no more questions on the administrative section. Make sure you include on B that we are also approving the following presenters listed on the attachment that Rick gave us. Is everybody good? We have a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor to approve the administrative audit, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Let's look at finance. Finance, we have scheduled invoices totaling $1,267,457 and 19 cents. Is there any questions on the administrative, on the financial section?
I move.
I second.
All those in favor to approve the financial section, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Now let's look at the personnel section.
Very short personnel schedule. You will see the first one for the art for next year, 2012-13 school year. B as well.
Is Tona, is she going to be moving this school year?
No, not until next school year. And then, of course, service personnel transferring from to their respective positions. And a leave of absence and another retirement.
Need to find some way for the speech of the day.
Correct.
You have people in the high school that have that forensics certification. Are they included in English or is that a separate certification? Forensics.
Thanks. Thanks. Get a picture and we'll put it on my notice.
That wasn't you.
It's
Any
gonna be a long
questions?
position. If there's any questions, and did you all see the abolish the extracurricular professional posting, and that's the internet wiring specialist, and then the correction?
That we will not need them next year. We will not. They're close to next year.
I mean, you're there this year.
Yes.
And then this other one is.
It was just a correction, that's pending the return. We have a social studies teacher, but he is on medical leave, and this, Mr. Hughes is taking the place of that particular teacher until he returns. He did, partially.
Temporarily. So he did partially.
Yes, yes, he did.
All right. If there's not any more questions, do we have a motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor to approve the personnel schedule, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Yes, aye. And, let's see here. Let's keep moving through this. Over here.
Trish, I gave you all the update already.
Okay. As you all know, Carol and I talked about periodically giving you guys an update on our recent meetings. And what you have is part of this large document. We just pulled out the parts that pertain solely to Lincoln County. The first part, I think, is it's a compilation of the contacts that they make with all of the counties, but Lincoln is in, tells you how many emails, phone calls, school visits, school contacts, teacher contacts, or contacts with central office, or that they actually have a recent chat with the counties. And it starts in July of 2010, and it goes through November of 2011. And part of what I wanted you to see is how much they do contribute to our county. And the larger part that you have, the packet, those are the things that they do just for us. And of course, this is for all of the counties in the recent. So we just make copies for what they do in Lincoln County. They have various people that does work with us, and we're very much appreciative of what they do. And I think Dee comes probably at the end of the year and does a final presentation. And but they also talked about a little bit about a trip to China that some of the people from the various counties in the RESA.
You go to China once before, special education. Yes, did you go to China once before? You going back again?
He's not there anymore.
Oh, isn't he? Oh, but he was the guy or something.
Actually, Dee is on the Board of Governors. She sits on a board that does send them to various places, and this was a trip that a group from West Virginia, there was a huge delegation from the state.
So you and Carol aren't going,
No, they.
I thought that was what you did right
No,
now.
they've already been.
And you were gonna say, well, wait there. What was it about you?
No, it's just the report that she gave was quite interesting. One of the things that I remember is that they want, the students there, they want to be more like our educational system, wasn't it? It was just.
It was kind of wild because, I mean, you know, they're really on a level above us, but they want their education system to be like ours is.
Yeah, but, yeah, they wanted it to be more like what we
well, ours
have.
is more universal, I think, than ours.
And they have a lot of student suicides. I mean, they really strong. We already own.
Lot of residential schools there. The students go, you know, to the residential schools, and it costs the families a good
amount of money.
Good amount of money.
To educate those children.
The boys and girls get equal?
They all don't get educated. but-
No,
No, you have to pay.
it's a very, very segregated type of system. But we got to, she talked a little bit about the report that that's coming from MGT, or the one, I'm sure it'll be in the news soon about, I think the governor had requested the audit, and there will be a report in the news soon about what they have found, what they recommend. She couldn't give us any particulars at that time, but of course we always have someone there from the State Department that does a report, and someone from Marshall that gives a little bit of a report talking about the various initiatives that's going on, and you guys are basically aware of what's going on. They did submit a letter, as we did, supporting the legislative, the priorities that Dr. Markle had asked that we all support. So, but I think you all seeing the amount of contact that we have with RESA, and the support that they give us, the support that you all know what we're doing. And it's all, of course, free for us. Any questions about RESA?
Already had that. The last meeting that lasted so long. So I took them back. So I thought, well, I'll hand it out tomorrow. And she's not here. So I'm not sure whether to,
bring it up next time or discuss it or something.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we just take it home and
Bring it
read
back.
over it,
Especially for the review.
bring it back?
Because somewhere this is going to
No, I'm
come.
gonna refresh my memory what that says on the front.
Preliminary state aid comps and enrollment.
As to compare this year compared to next year, I mean, somewhere in here we'll be able to decide.
Figure out whether we're going up or down.
She really had planned to go over it last time, but the meeting was so long,
Yeah.
and I think the board just asked her to wait. And so, she left that evening.
That's a long one.
Yeah. We'll plan on it for the next meeting.
It's a long meeting.
Which reminds me, for the next meeting, we have scheduled at 5 o'clock, if possible, in case there are personnel hearings due to the letters that we are,
So won't be a separate meeting, it'll just be right before the next meeting, is that right?
and then we have a separate one on the 19th, in case we need it.
Oh, okay, okay.
We're here.
So the 7th is going to be at 5.
Uh-huh,
Did you say the 7th?
17th.
17th?
Uh-huh.
So that'll be at 5.
Then the 19th will be determined later, or what, are we going to for
We,
sure have it?
go ahead and schedule it, if you would, then we will let you know if there are going to be. We are contacting, Mr. Midkiff and I are contacting the personnel today, and we will continue tomorrow. And then we will know in a few days if there's going to be any requests for hearings, and we'll be able to let you know.
You'll decide the time of that one later.
Of the 6 o'clock, since it's a special one, we'll just go ahead and start it at 6.
Are you discussing things? Do you have some things to discuss?
Tonight?
What about the Hearts open house? Is that still the same date?
Actually, she's going, we don't have a dedication date because we did get something back from the governor that he couldn't be here on that day, correct? Brenda? So we don't have but there's an open house tomorrow at 5, from 5 to 7. And we have made arrangements with 2 buses to be able to shuttle people back and forth from the middle school if they want to park there. It's going to be every 20 minutes or something.
Shouldn't there be enough room?
We are hoping, but we want to be able to.
Since the school won't be there.
Mhm. Yes.
But probably most of the staff will.
But the staff, I think they have elected to park at the middle school in order to have the spaces for them. But, it'll be available.
And when is their first student day?
Thursday. Thursday. Kids are coming Thursday.
Good.
Middle school's coming Thursday, elementary on Friday. Full go on Monday, tonight.
Middle Thursday.
On
Everybody
Monday.
Monday.
And they're working feverishly. We're trying to make sure all the phones are up, working, and internet, and,
Exciting time.
it's absolutely beautiful, so. Yes. Okay. Certainly,
I'm sorry, maybe I can sneak up there one day.
well, we were there today, and we've been there last week, and, it's amazing, It's amazing.
Is there any questions or concerns? If there's not any more questions or concerns, I move that we adjourn until January the 17th, 2012, at 5 p.m. the county office in Hammond.
Second.
All those in favor to adjourn, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Through the SBA to utilize it for that.
I have a quick question. Yeah, we were talking about those, how many teachers?
56. That's including all
all-
of the service
that's all
personnel,
the-
all of the employees.
Then I was gonna ask you, I know you're here, we have 74, is that usually the ratio, is that how it usually works? I mean, is that customary, is what I'm trying to say?
With the school building authority, they don't improve a lot of fluff unless the counties are coming up with some money to help with some, I guess, some additional things. And we haven't with this project very little. I mean, we've got $1 million line, and that's been the extent of our contribution from the county.
But my question is, and I know that we're gonna have excess parking at LCD Jets because of all the students that are driving, things like that. And like at Hamlin, at Duval, at Guyan Valley. I mean, is that, what I'm trying to say, is it complementary to those particular areas?
It seems to be common, that you don't get as much space as you need sometimes, and as far as luxury parking or additional parking, I think that's kind of common.
Would it fall in, what I'm saying is, it would have fallen in line with Duval, Guyan Valley?
Oh,
and
okay, I see what
you
you're
understand
saying.
what I'm saying? I mean, is it
saying.
similar to the other school? It's
I
common.
think it's, for the number of students, I think it's very similar.
And then the faculty members and the amount of extra spaces that are there.
Yes,
Because I mean,
it's kind of
74
right.
parking spaces, including 3 handicap. And then we have 56 total workers there.
There are guidelines they must follow, I mean, that SBA provides when they're building a school, as far as parking is concerned.
Right, but I was trying to find if it was more, if it was excessively, if it was
I think
less.
it's comparable.
If it's
I think
comparable
it's
to the
comparable.
other.
Yes, to the other schools that we have.
Altogether.
But we have a problem at the other schools too.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, Hamlin has a real problem.
Right.
And has probably a worse problem than Duval, and Duval has a problem. You know, when all those teachers park, there's not a lot of parking for parents or Norick and
But you also have to look at the number of students at Duval as compared to Harts Creek, as compared to Hamlin, the amount of faculty members that we have there too. I mean, that's, what I'm saying is,
it's comparable.
Right.
Very comparable.
If they had some type of activity during the day and you've got that many employees there, there's no space along Route 10 to park.
We were looking at, where they have that already paved and marked, it was all of that space behind there that Mr. Midkiff and Mr. Smith and I talked to them about, and it's easy to gravel. I would like for them to use that money and pave it as well.
You think
But
the
that's
county will
why
able
I
to
do
do
that.
that?
Like overflow parking for like events.
From the project funds, is
Right.
what you're
From the
saying?
project funds, was that?
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
there was money, and that's what I asked for.
Money available to pay more spaces.
Yes. Now, whether they let us have it or not, I look at it as it's our money, why would we not be, That's what we asked for. We also talked to them about that incline, and they were supposed to, have they completed that, David, for sure?
They worked on the part of the level part that hadn't been paved. They finished that, but to my knowledge, they still haven't done the incline, the entrance. They still haven't done that.
They were,
Haven't paved it. What are you saying? Haven't paved it?
We need to
They
bring it
haven't
up.
paved it, and they haven't brought it up to where it needs to be. So the buses don't
Yes.
drag.
It's been a long time since I've been on.
They
I've tried
have,
visuals and stuff.
they were in the discussion with the general contractor even that day when we spoke with him, and that was,
And as of today, that portion still hadn't been solved, exactly who was gonna pay for what.
okay. And that's between them, but we have just asked them to make sure it is done prior to the school opening, the buses, being able to go down the area that they are supposed to be. We've also looked at, let's say it isn't, we've looked at the alternative about them coming in at the other end and going up and turning on the paved part and coming back down in front of the school and dropping the children off, for a period of time. But it'd still be off the road, it's not on the road at all, not on the main highway until they get that fixed. Let's see.
What else did I
Did we get the pre-K off there?
They're supposed to have that off.
What is it?
The sign on outside of the building, the pre-K -8, it looks like PREK, P-R-E-K, that's one word. PREK, so we've asked for that to be.
Yeah, probably a good idea. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
We've asked them to remove that. Playground equipment has been purchased. They've already delivered it, right? The playground?
Yes.
Playground?
For preschool.
For the preschool. For the preschool. Also, the county commission has given them more playground equipment, but it's for smaller children. You know, we're still looking at trying to get some funding or something to purchase other equipment for older children. Of course, we did talk to Ms. Dingus about that. We wanted her to explore some other avenues.
Right now would be a good time to seek grants. Legislature, state.
Yes, yes.
Digest money.
Yes, yes.
If you're awake, bring a check down whenever it comes to, that's what I'm doing in school. I'll ask you.
They're giving some.
Wait for it.
Mr. McKibben, was it titled ARA? ARA money. ARA money, and then the county commission has,
Our money from the board,
Our money is in Obama's money, that stimulus money.
coming through the board.
Yes, came to the board.
for the
Yes.
preschool, ARA preschool. Mr. Ferguson,
Yes.
what else I wanted to tell you. Mr. Ferguson apologized for not being able to be here tonight because he said he would come and he'd be happy to answer any questions. He actually gave me his cell phone number in case we wanted to call him, and he would have everything there with him in case we had questions. But he said if you did not call, that he would be happy to be here on the 3rd to talk to you all about any design, any of the original things, if there are any questions. Because I told him, after the day that Neil called me, I wasn't sure what kind of questions may come up, that I couldn't answer about. But he said he would be happy, and he did do a lot of explaining to us when we had him on the phone.
Here's one thing, could we go back just to the classroom space?
Uh-huh.
Now, so apparently, we're pretty much at our limit as far as the usage of the students we have in the building, right?
Right now.
But all students are going to have classroom space?
Oh, yes. Yes.
We're not going to have a curtain in one room to separate two classes. Have you heard that?
That's one of those folding things, it's one of those folding things that goes, actual petition, it goes back in the wall. And that was for itinerant
Those were itinerant
classrooms, right?
Speech.
And that's still
That
there
would
in
be,
case
I
they need it.
think that would be, that's
Yes.
customary in those
It is,
classrooms.
yes.
There's one classroom that was originally designed because there was an idea about possibly having some ag exploratory type opportunities for the students there at Harts. And with in mind knowing that, not knowing exactly what the population of the students would look like when the school was built, that room may have to be used as a classroom. And right now, we are going to use it as a fifth grade classroom.
For this year.
Right, for this
Yeah,
year.
Because
Okay, so we have adequate space for all the students in classrooms. And next year, when fall comes, you're anticipating we're going to have maybe a little bit more, or a little flexibility, a little bit more
Yes.
space.
Yes, because we will not have three pre-K classrooms. We anticipate only 2.
Same with kindergarten as well, right?
Yes,
One less
yes,
kindergarten.
because those students move up.
So next year will be.
Yes.
Can I ask one request, please? After Ms. Dingus and her gang decide that they're finished going through the building, getting everything they want and all that, could we make it accessible, and see Dana here, I'm not volunteering, I'll leave that up to you, but could we have a time when all the other schools are advised that, you know, the Hearts staff have gone through and gotten everything they want? Could we advise all the other schools to set a date maybe when they can come up after, you know, school and go through there and get things that are not going to be utilized? Because in the past, what we've seen happen in other places, the scavengers kind of come in, but I'd like to see us give our other school people a chance to come up. Maybe Danny, you could.
Set up a schedule.
Yeah, and they can go up there because, you know, a lot of these people, they need a filing cabinet, they need a table, and they may be available there.
We've already
We wouldn't have to buy them.
You already,
We've
yeah.
already
Exactly.
looked at that. Mrs. Miller has already been looking at different, two things out of the kitchens that need, that probably would need to be going somewhere else rather than purchasing. Mr. Daly has looked at some of the furniture. As we walked through those two schools, I know Ms. Coburn looked at some things that she thought the other kindergarten, preschool classrooms might be able to utilize. So we've already started that process, that thinking. And we have asked Mrs. Dingus for a month. We felt like a month, once her teachers are in the building, that we're actually going to padlock the school so that she and Mr. Smith and maybe a custodian would have, they would only have the kids to get in to try to prevent. You know, I don't know how, but sometimes other people get keys to buildings, you know, for various reasons. And that might be able to slow down, you know, people going in and just kind of picking up things that really need, they need to go, it needs to go to another school. So we've been thinking about that, Steve.
Since we're gonna use the gym, is it possible that we can keep some things there like the ice machine for concession stands? I mean, we would want to have concession during the ball game.
I'm sure Ms. Dennis is probably thinking, you know, that, I can't remember what all she did ask for as far as the concession stand when we walked through. Do you remember this one?
Well, I know she does want to keep anything associated to be used with the concession stand.
Keep it in that building.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
she has mentioned that.
Yeah, there's some things that you probably have to keep.
Yeah.
Have to have if you want to do something.
But your vandalism, all I'm worried about.
Well, we talked about that, you know, trying, how do we keep that down? You know, even within that month of us trying to get in there and get as much, let them get as much materials and equipment, and not let something happen to the rest of it, so that we can get it to the schools, so we don't have to purchase. I mean, there's some good materials, there's really some, you know, some good equipment, but.
Well, we
you know,
need to leave the cameras operating.
that, yes. You're right. Never thought about that.
Day and night.
Because that was something that we were talking about yesterday. What do we leave for a while?
We can leave all the utilities on for a month or so, and all the schools get in and inspect and find out what they want, or what they need to take out. Yeah, we can leave all that on.
Are we pretty much squared away? Is there any more questions on the new parts, PK through 8?
Do you have any clarification as to open house?
The open house is going to be on the 4th. That's when Ms. Dingus will be, letting the community, you know, parents, the children, and she's going to have tours. That's what her plan is, like every 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something, that she would, you know, have someone to lead a tour, you know, throughout. Now, as far as the dedication, is that word correct this time? As far as the dedication, we do not have that date set. I know you all indicated the other night a little bit that you might prefer that it not be during the weekday, correct?
during the school time.
Yeah, not during the school time.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe at dinner time, they're gonna miss several days.
So it would be possibly a Saturday or an evening. Okay.
When it's nice, not real cold.
I'll see what I can do. See what I can do.
I have one more thing. Dana, do we know anything about the wiring at Pine Valley Middle School gym for the air
We're
conditioning?
starting to get the boxes in, and materials are coming from State Electric, and that stuff's coming in. As far as the power company scheduling a date to do what they're gonna do, which has to be done first, I don't have a date from them
Would it be possible to go ahead and get them to schedule a date? Will we
I'll
sure
try.
have all the stuff in there?
yet. I'll try to get the power company to give me a date. We don't have a lot of power over the power company. But
I don't think any
I
of
can
us,
ask.
they've got us in a bind.
But the fact that some of the stuff is coming in, I think that's a positive,
That's a
definitely.
plus. What about Lincoln County CEFP amendment and the SBA approval?
Okay. You know, the news led us to believe that we got funded for the project at Ranger and Inland. Well, what they really did was they approved the amendment. They didn't give us any money.
That wasn't the Journal report of that. It was the Gazette. That was the Gazette report of that.
Oh, was
That
it?
was on, it's on the SAC. had it
Yeah.
in there.
Yes, it was the, yes, I saw it on the news, I was so excited.
I did too.
When will we know?
You have to resubmit, is that correct? You
Yes,
have to
that would be
resubmit.
correct. We have to resubmit next year, next fall.
Oh, so we submitted, but we weren't approved.
We weren't awarded.
Sorry, I thought it was still pending. I guess it is till next year.
It is, it is. We are going to have a lunch here tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I would like to invite each one of you. You do not have to bring anything except your appetite. 11.
You got one.
I'm sorry, guys, I'm not gonna be able to make this. So
Oh, okay.
I have to go to work.
I might be back on that one.
Well, even if you're
But
not
I'll
here
see
at
you guys.
11, come on in whenever you get here. We'll have leftovers.
What do you all have?
Is this just?
Is this a
steak?
potluck?
Is this steak?
Is this just
There's a
like whatever
variety.
they bring?
Variety.
Huh?
There's a variety.
Did you all, did you all like say, just bring a dish? Or did you all like write it down and say, somebody's
Really
bringing?
coordinated, really
baked
coordinated.
beans?
What it's gonna be. What's the menu?
I've got a few sick days, about 50.
Well, we have,
You're on video.
I don't care.
we have a ham ordered and a meatloaf ordered. But then we have everyone who brings their favorite, and it's always delicious. Several desserts, we have everything, all kind of casseroles. People have told me what they're bringing, I'm not gonna sit here and recite it all, but it's just, anything you can imagine is what we're gonna have.
That sounds good.
It just depends on when I sign in.
Hey, you know what?
Somebody sign in.
It's almost 10, we could just, let's just stay here.
We may not even go.
Let's go home.
I think we're too tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adjourn until January the 3rd, 2012 at 6 p.m. in the office.
Could I present this before we adjourn?
Yes.
So it can be part of the official minutes. Ms. Lucas would like to present to you as a Christmas present from the board members.
Oh, thank you
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Thank you all very much. Well, if you all will sit real still, I'll go and get your gift.
I'm sure they will.
You do have? Would you help me?
Right here.
Miss Val?
I made a motion. Motion on the floor to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor of adjourn, please say aye.